Karen's BMW blocked the driveway, trapping Alex's car. Seething with rage, Alex stormed out of the house, ready to confront her neighbor once and for all. "Get your damn car out of my way," Alex shouted, marching up to the sleek silver vehicle. Karen emerged from her house, sunglasses perched on her perfectly coiffed hair. "Excuse me," she said, voice dripping with condescension. "I'm just running a few errands. I'll move it when I'm done." Alex clenched her fists, heart pounding. "No, you'll move it now. I need to get to work." "Well, that's not my problem, is it?" Karen sneered, examining her manicured nails. "Maybe you should have planned better." Trembling with fury, Alex glared at the smug woman. "You're unbelievable. This is the third time this week you've blocked me in." Karen shrugged. "I told you, I'm just running a few quick errands. I'm sure you can find another way to work." She turned and headed back towards her house. Alex's anger boiled over. "That's it, I'm calling the police," she shouted, pulling out her phone. Karen paused, a hint of worry crossing her face. "Oh, come now. Let's not be hasty," she said, voice dripping with false concern. "I'm sure we can work this out like reasonable adults." "Reasonable?" Alex scoffed. "You've been nothing but unreasonable from the moment we moved in." She began dialing, eyes narrowed. Karen's eyes widened as she realized Alex was serious. Wait, she said, hurrying over. "There's no need for that. Let me just move my car, okay?" But Alex ignored her, listening as the call connected. Karen's face twisted with panic. "No, please, don't call the police," she pleaded. "I'll move it right away, I promise." Alex hesitated, finger hovering over the screen. The temptation to call the authorities and teach Karen a lesson was strong. But then an idea struck her, and a sly smile crept across her face. "You know what, Karen?" she said, lowering the phone. "I have a better idea." Karen eyed Alex warily, sensing a trap. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice laced with suspicion. Alex's smile widened. "Well, since you're so determined to make my life difficult, I think it's time I return the favor." She opened her car door and reached inside, pulling out a tow truck key. Karen's eyes widened in alarm. "Wait, what are you doing with that?" she demanded. "I'm calling a tow truck," Alex replied calmly. "And you know what? I'm going to use your own AAA account to do it." Karen's face drained of color. "You can't do that," she cried. "That's illegal." Alex shrugged. "Maybe. But so is repeatedly blocking my driveway, don't you think?" She began dialing a number on her phone. "No, stop," Karen pleaded, rushing towards Alex. "Please, you can't do this. I'll move the car right now. I swear." But Alex ignored her, holding up a hand to silence her. "Hello, AAA. Yes, I'd like to report a vehicle blocking my driveway. The license plate is..." She rattled off the plate number, all the while maintaining eye contact with the increasingly frantic Karen. "No, no, no," Karen shrieked, lunging towards Alex. "You can't do this. I'll call the police." Alex stepped back, eyebrow raised. "Go ahead," she said coolly. "I'm sure they'll be very interested to hear about your repeated driveway blockings." Karen's shoulders slumped in defeat. She knew she was caught. "All right, fine," she spat. "What do you want?" Alex's grin was triumphant. "I want you to keep your damned car out of my driveway from now on," she said. "And if you ever block me in again, I won't hesitate to tow it." "Understood." Karen glared at her, but nodded stiffly. "Fine," she muttered. "Good." Alex ended the call and slipped her phone back into her pocket. "Now, why don't you go move your car before the tow truck gets here?" With one last venomous look, Karen turned and stalked back to her car, climbing in and peeling out of the driveway. Alex watched her go, feeling a sense of satisfaction. As Karen's car disappeared around the corner, Alex let out a deep breath, the adrenaline slowly subsiding. She couldn't believe she'd actually gone through with it. But a small part of her was thrilled at having finally stood up to her insufferable neighbor. Glancing at her watch, Alex hurried back into the house to grab her things for work. She couldn't afford to be late, not after the stunt she just pulled. As she rushed out the door, she couldn't help but smile. Karen would think twice before blocking her in again. The drive to the office was uneventful, and Alex arrived just in time. Her boss, Samantha, greeted her with a concerned look. "Is everything okay, Alex?" Samantha asked. "You look a little flustered." Alex hesitated, then decided to come clean. "Honestly, Samantha, I'm not sure," she admitted. I had a run-in with my neighbor this morning, and things got a little out of hand." Samantha's eyes widened. "Out of hand? What happened?" Nervously, Alex explained the situation. How Karen had blocked her driveway yet again, and how she'd called a tow truck using the woman's own AAA account. To her surprise, Samantha didn't immediately chastise her. Instead, the older woman let out a low whistle. "Wow, Alex, that's pretty bold," she said, shaking her head. "I can't say I condone it, but I can understand the frustration." Alex blinked, relief washing over her. "So, you're not going to fire me or anything?" Samantha chuckled. "No, of course not. As long as it doesn't affect your work, I don't see any reason to punish you for standing up to an unreasonable neighbor." She paused, then added, "Just be careful, okay? Don't do anything too reckless." Alex nodded, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders. "I'll try my best," she promised. "And thank you, Samantha. I really appreciate your understanding." "Of course," Samantha replied with a warm smile. "Now, get to work. We've got a big project due at the end of the week." Grateful for her boss's support, Alex hurried to her desk, her mind still racing with the morning's events. She couldn't help but wonder what Karen was up to now, and if the tow truck had already arrived. A small part of her almost wished she could be there to see the look on the woman's face. But for now, she had work to focus on. With a deep breath, Alex pushed the incident to the back of her mind and immersed herself in her tasks, determined to prove that she could keep her cool and be the professional she knew she was. Later that afternoon, Alex's phone began to buzz incessantly. Glancing down, she saw that it was an unknown number. "Hello," she answered, feeling a twinge of apprehension. "Alex, this is Karen." The voice on the other end was tense and agitated. Alex couldn't help but smirk. "Karen, what a surprise. To what do I owe the pleasure?" There was a moment of silence before Karen spoke again. "I want to know what the hell you did with my car." "Your car?" Alex feigned ignorance. "I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't play dumb with me," Karen snapped. "I just got back from running my errands and my car is gone. The tow truck people said you called them using my AAA account." Alex leaned back in her chair, savoring the moment. "Ah, yes, that. Well, you see, Karen, I got a little tired of you blocking my driveway, so I decided to take matters into my own hands." "You can't do that," Karen cried. "That's illegal." "Is it?" Alex replied coolly. "Funny, I seem to remember you breaking the law by repeatedly blocking my access to my own property. I think that's a little more illegal, don't you?" Karen let out a frustrated growl. "You're going to pay for this, Alex. I'm calling the police." Alex chuckled. "Go ahead. I'm sure they'll be very interested to hear about your repeated driveway blockings." There was a pause, and Alex could practically hear the gears turning in Karen's head. "All right, fine," the woman finally said, her voice laced with resignation. "What do you want?" "What I want, Karen, is for you to keep your car out of my driveway from now on," Alex said firmly. "And if you ever block me in again, I won't hesitate to do the same thing. Are we clear? Another moment of silence, then a defeated sigh. Yes, we're clear, Karen muttered. Good. Alex nodded, satisfied. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some work to get back to. Before Karen could say another word, Alex ended the call, a sense of triumph washing over her. She knew she had taken a risk, but the look on Karen's face was priceless. Maybe now, the woman would finally learn to respect her neighbors. With a contented smile, Alex returned to her work, feeling a little lighter than she had in weeks. The next few days passed without incident, and Alex found herself breathing a sigh of relief. Karen seemed to have taken her threat seriously, and the woman's car remained conspicuously absent from the driveway. However, Alex's sense of victory was short-lived. As she pulled into her usual spot one evening, she noticed a familiar vehicle parked directly in front of her garage. Her heart sank as she recognized the sleek, silver BMW, Karen's car. "You've got to be kidding me," Alex muttered, gritting her teeth. Quickly, she gathered her things and marched up to the offending vehicle, fuming. The front door of the house opened, and Karen emerged, a smug expression on her face. "Ah, Alex, I was wondering when you'd be home," she said, sauntering over. Alex clenched her fists, fighting the urge to shout. "Karen, what the hell do you think you're doing?" she demanded. Karen waved a dismissive hand. "Oh, I'm just parking my car for the evening. I have a dinner party to attend, and I didn't want to walk too far." "But you're blocking my driveway." Again, Alex exclaimed, exasperated. "Am I?" Karen feigned innocence. "Well, that's certainly not my intention. I'll be sure to move it as soon as I get back." Alex stared at her in disbelief. "You know damn well what you're doing, Karen. This is unacceptable." Karen's eyes narrowed. "And what are you going to do about it, Alex?" "Call the tow truck again." She let out a derisive laugh. "I've taken precautions this time. You won't be able to use my AAA account." A chill ran down Alex's spine as she realized the implications of Karen's words. "You didn't," she breathed, her voice trembling with a mixture of anger and fear. "Oh, but I did," Karen purred, a triumphant gleam in her eyes. "I canceled my AAA membership and opened a new account under a different name. Good luck trying to tow my car now." Alex felt her heart racing, her mind scrambling to find a solution. She couldn't believe Karen had outmaneuvered her so thoroughly. "You can't do this, Karen," she pleaded, desperation creeping into her voice. "This is going too far." But Karen merely shrugged, a cruel smile on her lips. "I'm afraid I can, Alex. And I will, as long as you continue to be a thorn in my side." With that, she turned and headed back towards the house, leaving Alex standing there, helpless and fuming. Alex stood there, fists clenched, as Karen disappeared back into her house. She couldn't believe the gall of her neighbor to blatantly block her driveway, knowing full well that Alex couldn't retaliate the way she had before. Glancing around, Alex's eyes landed on a large plastic recycling bin sitting on the curb. An idea began to form in her mind, and she felt a surge of determination. Quickly, she grabbed the bin and dragged it over to Karen's car, positioning it strategically behind the rear wheels. With a grunt of effort, she managed to tip the bin onto its side, effectively blocking the car's movement. Just as she was admiring her handiwork, the front door of Karen's house opened, and the woman herself emerged, a look of horror on her face. "What do you think you're doing?" she shrieked, rushing towards Alex. Alex stood her ground, arms crossed defiantly. "I'm making sure you can't leave until you move your car," she stated calmly. Karen's face turned an alarming shade of red. "You can't do this. This is vandalism." "Vandalism?" Alex scoffed. "That's rich, coming from you. You're the one who's been repeatedly breaking the law by blocking my driveway." "But I have every right to park in front of my own house," Karen protested. "Not when it's preventing me from accessing my property," Alex countered. "And don't think I'm just going to let you get away with this, Karen. I have a few tricks up my sleeve." Karen's eyes widened in panic. "You wouldn't dare," she breathed. Alex raised an eyebrow. "Wouldn't I?" She pulled out her phone and began dialing a number. Karen's face fell as she realized what Alex was doing. "No, no, no," she cried, rushing towards the phone. "Please, don't call the police." Alex held up a hand, silencing her. "Then move your car, Karen. And don't ever block my driveway again, or I swear I'll make your life a living hell." Karen hesitated, her eyes darting between the recycling bin and Alex's unyielding expression. Finally, with a resigned sigh, she reached into her pocket and pulled out her keys. As she maneuvered her car out of the way, Alex watched with a sense of satisfaction. She may have lost the towing battle, but this was a victory in its own right. Karen had been forced to back down, and that was more than enough for Alex. Once the car was clear, Alex retrieved the recycling bin and headed towards her own driveway, leaving a fuming Karen in her wake. The next few weeks passed in relative peace, with Karen seemingly keeping her distance and respecting the unspoken agreement between the two neighbors. Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of triumph every time she pulled into her driveway without incident. However, that fragile truce was shattered one afternoon when Alex returned home to find a large, ominous envelope taped to her front door. Furrowing her brow, she carefully peeled it off and opened it, her heart sinking as she read the contents. It was a cease and desist letter from Karen's lawyer, demanding that Alex cease all harassing and threatening behavior towards her client. The letter went on to threaten legal action if Alex did not comply immediately. Alex felt her blood boil as she read the accusations. Harassing and threatening behavior. She had simply stood up for her rights as a homeowner, nothing more. But leave it to Karen to twist the narrative and turn her into the villain. Crumpling the letter in her hand, Alex stormed across the street and pounded on Karen's door. When the woman answered, her expression thinned into a smug smile. "Karen, what the hell is this?" Alex demanded, shoving the letter towards her. Karen feigned innocence. "Why, I'm simply protecting myself, Alex. After all, you've made it quite clear that you're willing to resort to illegal and unethical means to get your way." "Illegal?" Alex scoffed. "I was the one being illegally blocked from my own property." "And yet, you chose to take the law into your own hands," Karen countered. "Calling a tow truck using my AAA account. Trapping my car with a recycling bin. That's not how civilized people resolve their differences." Alex felt her temper flaring. "Civilized? You're the one who's been making my life a living hell for weeks." Karen clucked her tongue disapprovingly. "And now you're resorting to threats and intimidation. I'm afraid I have no choice but to take legal action, Alex. I won't stand for this kind of behavior." "Legal action?" Alex's eyes widened in disbelief. "You're the one who's been breaking the law, Karen. I should be the one taking you to court." But Karen merely shrugged, her expression unwavering. "That's not how the law works, dear. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a meeting with my lawyer to attend." With that, she turned and closed the door, leaving a seething Alex standing on the doorstep. Alex stared at the closed door, her mind racing. She couldn't believe that Karen was actually going to try and sue her after everything she had done. It was an outrageous, underhanded move, and Alex knew she had to fight back. Determined to find a way to expose Karen's true colors, Alex stormed back to her own house, already plotting her next move. Over the next few days, Alex worked tirelessly to build her case against Karen. She scoured through old emails and text messages, compiling evidence of the woman's repeated driveway blockings. She also reached out to other neighbors, hoping to gather support and testimony. To her relief, several of the other residents on the street were more than willing to back her up. They'd all had their fair share of run-ins with Karen's entitled behavior, and they were eager to help put an end to it. Armed with this newfound evidence and support, Alex decided to take the fight to Karen. She scheduled a meeting with her own lawyer, determined to beat the woman at her own game. When the day of the meeting arrived, Alex felt a mix of nerves and determination. As she sat across from her lawyer, she laid out the details of the conflict, carefully presenting the evidence she had gathered. The lawyer listened intently, brow furrowing in concern. "This is a serious situation, Alex," he said, once she had finished. "Karen's lawyer is clearly trying to intimidate you, but I believe we have a strong case against her." Alex let out a sigh of relief. "So you think I have a chance of winning?" The lawyer nodded. "Absolutely. Based on the information you've provided, it's clear that Karen has been engaging in repeated, unlawful behavior. We can file a countersuit for harassment and property damage, and potentially even seek compensation for the inconvenience you've had to endure." A small smile crept across Alex's face. "That's exactly what I want to hear. I'm not going to let Karen get away with this." The lawyer returned the smile. "Good. Now, let's get to work on drafting our response. We'll make sure Karen regrets ever trying to mess with you." Over the next few weeks, the legal battle raged on, with both sides trading accusations and legal maneuvers. But with the support of her lawyer and her fellow neighbors, Alex felt confident that she would emerge victorious. In the end, Karen's case never even made it to court. Faced with the overwhelming evidence against her, the woman's lawyer was forced to withdraw the cease and desist letter, and Karen was compelled to issue a formal apology to Alex. As Alex watched Karen begrudgingly remove the offending vehicle from her driveway one final time, she couldn't help but feel a sense of triumph. She had stood up to her neighbor's entitled behavior, and she had won. From that day on, Karen kept her distance, and Alex's driveway remained blissfully clear. The victory had come at a cost, but Alex knew that it was worth it. She had proven that even the most stubborn Karens could be defeated, and that sometimes standing up for yourself was the only way to get the justice you deserved.